They paid him millions. They said he was the greatest coach to ever coach football. They said there's no way that Dave Dorn is going to outcoach Bill Belichick. And still, for the 5th consecutive year, you already know, it's Belt.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network, your team every day. Saturday night, and it's all right. 42-19, NC State football absolutely spanks UNC. Anyone with a sizable brain knew this was coming. We told you this was coming way back in last December when this hire was announced over there in Dirty Footland. I had tweeted, you've probably seen it on Twitter by now, a meme of Squidward laughing maniacally. And I said, I can't believe they're going through with this, because I knew even with that hire, even with the circus that we've been watching down the street for the last 11 months, when it came to this game, it's still dominance. It's still culture versus, I don't know what you want to call it down the street. It's not culture. I wouldn't even call it manufactured culture. They want to be a team that has culture. They want to be a team that is aggressive. They want to be a team that pushes other people around. We do that. When it comes to this game, we do that. That's 5 in a row. Count them up. 5. There are seniors that are graduating at UNC, if they're still on the team at this point. They don't know a world where they have beaten NC State. There's seniors that just go to UNC, a regular student. They don't know a world where they've beaten NC State in football. Dave Dorn, you can say whatever you want about Dave, the rest of the season, the tenure, whatever. When it comes to this game, he knows what time it is. If there's business to be stood on and it wears light blue, he's going to stand on it. 42-19, Kenton. Tell us about tonight.
Oh, my God. On the field, absolute domination. But somebody dropped one of the most savage and accurate comments that I have ever seen here. Jason, NCSU 2007, said, last time NC State lost to UNC, Jordan Hudson was still a teenager. That is a factual statement, ladies.
That feels illegal.
That's a factual statement. But on the field, let's talk about on the field how much better we are than those clowns. Will Wilson is our backup quarterback, right?
Not even second string. That's third string Will Wilson.
Okay, third string Will Wilson has as many rushing touchdowns as their starter had passing touchdowns. Oh, ew, yuck. What is going on over there? Oh, my God. Hey, let me tell you something, man. This game right here, at the end of the day, this game right here, it officially established something that was very important, Grayson. The record going back in the past 50 years was 25-25. Guess what just happened?
Not anymore.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no time frame that you can pull up except 60 years and beyond where they lead this thing. Oh, my God. This is what I love to see. This is what I love to see. This is what I absolutely love to see. The defense showed out. Special teams showed out. Offense showed out. And I mean, the offense, they took a trip to Wendy's, didn't they, to start this game off? Give me that 4 for 4. Give me that 4 for 4, please. Don't ask me about the chicken tender meal. Don't ask me about the Baconator. I need 4 for 4. 4 drives, 4 touchdowns to start this game off. That was a hell of a masterclass by Roper and company to start this. I am telling you right now, if we could simply bottle this feeling up and just inject this into our veins, everything about tonight was perfect. You want to know the best part, Grayson? Nobody got suspended, which would last for the next game as well.
True.
That was the biggest thing, because I knew Belt was coming out. I already knew that was coming out. That was not a doubt in my mind. The only thing that I worried about, especially after that 14-0 lead, I'm like, hey, it's going to get chippy. Those bozos have nothing to lose. And when they have nothing to lose, they're going to behave themselves like somebody with nothing to lose.
Yeah.
That's why when you start doing well for yourself in the dating world, people say date people who got stuff to lose. Because they ain't going to burn up your car and all that because they got a car to do that. But the person on the bus, they might. What you going to do? Burn out every bus in the city of Raleigh? No. So the reality of this thing is simple. This team dominated from start to finish, overcame some, to call this a ref show would be an understatement of the century. Cade Fordham, I'm so sorry, brother. 2 turnovers that you forced. 2 of them. Both taken away by the refs. Ball don't lie. Very next play after one of them, there's a fumble, and we get much better field position on that. Ball don't lie. This was a game that you saw the best aspects of NC State that you didn't even know were the best aspects of NC State. You and I had commented all year on how Justin Jolie's blocking had improved to a point where he was used as a lead blocker. And what did the commentators keep commenting on all game long? What, man, Justin Jolie's being used as a lead blocker time and time again. Will Wilson obviously showed up. And by the way, the selflessness of Will Wilson. Do you know how many quarterbacks would have said, wait a minute, you only going to bring me in for short yardage? I'm not burning my red shirt for that. No, I got too much potential money to make to burn my red shirt to be a short yardage specialist. But how many times has Will Wilson been just what we needed at just the right moment? This is the type of stuff. This is the type of stuff that I absolutely love to see. This team, again, everybody came in. This was an everybody win. Because you talk about the defense forcing turnovers. You talk about the most sacks of the season. You talk about so many things that this team did right. I struggle to find what they struggled at. You can find small pockets where everything didn't go wrong. But if you ask me what was the worst part of the night, I'd say the announcing crew and the camera crew. That's it. That's the only thing that left me. From start to finish, even after the game, when Dave Doran said, hey, Chancellor, light it red. Chancellor Howell, light it red. They said, what does that mean? What does that even mean? And I'm like, oh, see, y'all don't know ball. Y'all don't do y'all job for real. But you know what? Tonight is about that Block S. Tonight is about that Wolf. Tonight it's about the fact that NC State once again shows who is the preeminent brand in the state.
That's right. There is a small part of my petty brain that is a little disappointed in the outcome that it wasn't like 55-0, because in all honesty, probably could have been. I thought there was a couple moments where maybe UNC was helped out, maybe not helped out. I mean, they were definitely helped out. There was some questionable officiating, but you can't complain about that, obviously, when the rest of the game is a complete domination by NC State. But it just goes to show you this game was never in doubt. To get the ball and score on the first possession you have, you made a statement right out the gate. We're here. Y'all know what time it is. We've been waiting all year for this. Y'all have been acting like you aren't waiting for this game. We know that you are, and you're still going to come in and lose. This is the urgency that we would like to see in a 12-game season. And I know there's comments about, man, if only Dave could coach this game like he would the other 11, we'd be in business. I get that. There's something to be said about that, and jokes are jokes, but it's so refreshing to see us come out and just be the aggressor. Multiple fourth down conversions, rolling out Will Wilson where you, me, the woman at the end of the row, and everyone in the stadium knows what's coming, and they cannot stop it because he is undeniable at running that Wildcat. It's almost like rare air to see someone so young and so relatively inexperienced be so good at one niche thing that he's become like virtually unstoppable. 4 touchdowns in this game. And the fact that he still was not the leading rusher, CJ Bailey was. We were getting offensive line push all night. Shout out to the offensive line. They showed up and they went to work. They pushed around the defensive line for UNC, which they've been getting some love because they have relatively decent sack numbers. Didn't have any effect on this one. Our guys showed up. They hit the time clock. And they pushed the load for CJ, Will Wilson. Hollywood Smothers didn't even have to do much in this game, and we still dominated. So shout out to the O-line. They certainly did their thing. CJ also did his thing. I thought he played a great game. Just had to be a game manager. He was 21 of 30 through the air, 201 and 2 passing touchdowns. Didn't make any mistakes in this game. NC State on the whole really didn't make any mistakes in this game. And it was just a 4-quarter domination. We knew, and we said this in the beginning of the season, the middle part of the season when you have a performance against Georgia Tech, and now at the end, they're so capable of playing good football if they can just string it together for 4 quarters. And sometimes it happens, other times it doesn't. But to see that tonight where you just put your foot down and you never let up, dominant win. Very proud of the boys tonight.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you talk about what this rivalry is, and here's the thing. I hope that they continue to say, oh, that we're not your rivals forever. I don't care. If I knew that I had to fight somebody on the same day of every year, and every year that guy that I had to fight was going to say, oh, I don't even want to fight Ken for real. I don't care if he beats me up. Good. Make it easy on me. I don't need you to make it tough on me. Hire Bill Belichick. Good. Make it easy on me. Okay? I am so elated by how this team has finished out this season. Really and truly. When you look at these last 2 games, right? The Florida State game, I said that there were going to be opportunities to put that team down. We did enough. We did enough to put them down. This game, you and I had talked about this all week because we were with our families and all that good stuff. And, but you and I had talked about this game and said, this UNC team is definitely going to mail it in.
Yeah, come on.
Just don't let them keep it close. If you come out early the right way, they will fold. Did they not fold like origami before halftime?
Quick.
Before halftime, it was over. Before halftime, this team, all right, this is it. I am telling you right now, if they play like this in a bowl game, they can actually get to that 8 games. It is crazy to think about. Because there were times where I'm like, I'm not even sure if we get 5 here. And now to close this thing out with potentially 3 straight wins. Not just 3 straight wins. If they win the bowl game by double digits, that'll be 3 straight double-digit wins to end this season. And that, to me, is the greatest measure to say how much, like, we can talk about how much this team left on the table at another time, but how much better this team could have potentially been if you just would have produced a couple defensive performances like what we saw tonight. But again, tonight is about tonight. I don't want to talk about the past. I don't want to talk about the future right now. I want to talk about putting belt on bozos, which we did. We did it. They came out with their big tap dancing shoes on. They came out with the GOAT coach. They came out with, oh yeah, we're so much better than them, and da-da-da. Here we go again, for not just the first, not the second, not the third, not the fourth, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th time in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it's just this team. There's a lot of deficiencies. There's a lot of things they do really well. I keep going back to, man, like when they put it all together, you see it in flashes, but when you put it all together for, maybe a quarter, 2 quarters, in some cases like tonight, for 4 quarters, it's such a joy. And then, of course, the other part of your brain's like, we did lose to Virginia Tech. We did lose that Duke game. And for tonight, let all that go. Worry about that another time. Yep. Celebrate tonight. This was senior night. They got another win, the 5th straight win over UNC. I say this all the time, but live in this right here for tonight. Relish in this game, beating the Dirty Foot Club and Bill Belichick. He had no idea what he was stepping into tonight, and I'm glad that we made it that way. So very proud of the NC State Wolfpack. We're going into a quick ad break, and then obviously we have much more to talk about. And I do kind of want to end this live show talking about, all right, we're 7-5. We're going to go into a bowl game that feasibly would feel winnable depending on who the opponent is. What do you feel about this season now? We'll talk about that later. But of course, here we go. Quick ad read. Stick with us. Our first ad read of our Saturday night post-game live is Omaha Steaks, just in time for the holiday season. The holidays always feel a little bit easier when you already know about the perfect gift. And Omaha Steaks almost makes it too simple. When you're treating yourself this season or sending something memorable to friends and family, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to their door. And this week right now, is the best time to jump in because their cyber sale is here and the deals are huge. The quality is exactly what you hope for. Incredibly tender steaks, rich flavor, and meals that make hosting and weeknight cooking that much easier. The variety is underrated. The steaks, burgers, comfort meals, sides, desserts. It's one of those gifts that truly fits anyone. Honestly, it's the gift that brings people together, and you don't need to guess anyone's size. Save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide, and you get an extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale. For an additional $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's COLLEGE, college. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details. All right, middle portion of our Saturday night post-game live, 42-19 over those dirty foot clubbers. Domination. And I want to start here talking about Will Wilson. He did have 4 touchdowns on the ground for the Wolfpack tonight, 12 carries for 54, 4 touchdowns, average 4.5 per carry, which comes in handy because you're usually bringing him in on 3rd and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 3. The inevitability that has become Will Wilson, Kenton, is unbelievable. A third-string quarterback. That kind of gets lost in translation. Lex Thomas is QB2. Will Wilson, the true freshman, as QB3. And you already talked about the selflessness of that. A lot of kids, man, they don't want to burn their red shirt. I hate to bring up MJ Morris, but do you think MJ Morris would have been willing to do this for this team 2 years ago? I'd venture to guess probably not. In fact, we already have our answer. Will Wilson and what he has meant to this football team this year, anytime we have called upon him, not only does he go in, but he gets the job done when he does so. Putting this kid in the Wildcat has proven successful. It feels like 98% of the time. I don't have the actual number, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's not far off. Anytime you put this kid in the game, he gets the job done. Kenton, talk a little bit more about what you saw from Will Wilson tonight.
I mean, at the end of the day, Will Wilson and his package he's the one that receives the credit out of it, but the offensive line and his lead blockers, phenomenal. They do the job of opening up the holes, and I will give him a lot of credit for Will Wilson's vision is oftentimes what makes these things happen, regardless of what the play is, whether it's when they run the power with him, when they run the counter with him, when they run the zone with him, whatever it is, he just finds that hole. He just finds, this is where I need to be. Oh, this is where the defense is adjusting for. And time again, he does what needs to be done. And why is that vision important? When you get young guys, especially young guys who are the type of athlete that Will Wilson is, a lot of them just want to bounce everything. Everything is just, I can hit the outside. I can outrun somebody to the corner. It is a fine art of knowing, all right, let me go ahead and take a second. Let me go ahead and, let this thing sort itself out, and then I'll attack. Or, you know what? I can beat this guy to the corner. And again, by the conversion rate, he gets that right more often than not. It is a virtual, like Grayson said, it is a virtual inevitability that when he comes into the game, he's going to get what he needs to get. So credit to him for the vision, but also credit to the blockers. I mean, those tight ends, those H-backs, those, big backs that we bring in that we know are going to lead the way for him, they do a hell of a job, man. They do a hell of a job. And we can't talk about his selflessness without talking about their selflessness. That doesn't go in Cody Hardy's stats. That doesn't go in Justin Jolie's stats. That does not go in any of these guys' stats. And yet, they still show up and say, here's what I do. Here's what we're going to do. We got, big fella coming in the game. And I'm going to tell you this, the selflessness of C.J. Bailey. He's the number one guy that's geeked up when Will comes into the game. I've seen other quarterbacks in that position soak and look a little bit sour, look a little bit bitter, do a golf clap for the guy in front of him or for the guy that is in that quarterback spot. He comes in, when Will Wilson comes in, C.J. Bailey is right there, excited, ready to go. Excited every time. So, this ultimately full team effort. And also another thing here, Will Wilson's rise does not happen with the old Dave Doran. It just doesn't. Agreed. It just doesn't. The amount of times that he's going for it on 4th down this season, I don't think there's ever been a season where we've had as many 4th down attempts. I can't remember it if there is one. That's what I'm saying. I can't remember if there is one. And I was a part of the first class, ladies and gentlemen. I came here with Doran. So I don't ever remember Doran going for it this much, but he does it. He trusts his guys. Conservative is dead, ladies and gentlemen. It's just, we cannot have any argument about whether or not faking a punt at your own 30 and saying, hey, we going for it. We going to try this thing. Bringing Will Wilson out on the regular on 4th and 1. We trying it. You got us close enough, offense. Will, come on. Let's do it. This is the type of stuff. This is what we mean when we say even in the little things, right? We're only talking about short yardage offense. But think about all the people that are responsible for making it happen. Coach Doran for saying, let's go with it. Coach Roper for saying, you know what, even though we do this, let's do it in a couple different ways. Just a minor little tweak. Let's go power this time. Let's go counter this time. Let's go zone this time. Let's go blast this time. Just minor little tweaks that mean the world there. And then the players, their execution and their selflessness. Like Grace has said, we've had players in the past that we know would not be selfless enough to say, I'm going to burn a red shirt for 9 rushing touchdowns and about 20 first down conversions. How about it? How about it? I'm willing to do that for this team. So this is, again, the team. This is the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the what? The pack.
I think you summed that up perfectly tonight because it was a team win. And you talk about CJ being overly excited for Will Wilson. You can say a lot of things about CJ Bailey. You can say he's a good quarterback. You have other feelings. What you can't say is he's not an excellent teammate to his guys. He's always fired up for anyone that gets in the end zone or makes a big play, offense, defense, special teams. You always see him cutting into the camera frame. He's always like the first guy there. That's an excellent teammate. And that permeates into the locker room. When we talk about culture all the time, and Dave's built this culture, it's the stuff like that. It's the teammates that pick each other up when they're down or push each other up when we're up. Yeah. CJ Bailey is the epitome of that. And that's one of the things I really love the most about CJ. And an up and down season for the Pack as a whole. I did enjoy watching CJ's progression as a quarterback. And it's going to be an interesting offseason, to say the absolute least. We'll talk more about that, obviously, when the time comes. Now that I guess we're moving into kind of the offseason, which is crazy. I don't know where this season just went. Somehow we've already played 12 games. It felt like we started the season like a month and a half ago. But, man, to finish 7-5 here, I was going to start it now. We'll save that conversation still. Let's talk more about this offense tonight. Justin Jolie gets in the end zone. Wesley Grimes gets in the end zone early. Justin Jolie, man. I mean, we've been talking about him for over a calendar year. He's the best tight end in the ACC, one of the best tight ends in the country. For him as a receiving tight end, and also, Kenton, you talked about his blocking tonight. I think he might have made himself some serious NFL money on that front this evening. A blocking expertise put on display, him and Cody Hardy, which is crazy too, because like Cody Hardy was limping off the field last week against Florida State, and you throw him right back out there in the mix. I'd venture to guess he's not playing anywhere close to 100%, but putting his body on the line. These tight ends this season on the whole, throw Dante Daniels in the mix as well. This tight end group has been a special group to watch. Justin Jolie, man, he will be sorely missed in Raleigh. One of my favorite tight ends, one of my favorite players that we've seen at NC State in quite some time. Kenton, your lasting impressions on the tight end performance from this evening?
I think we saw our last snaps of Justin Jolie.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I think we saw our last snaps of Justin Jolie, and it almost makes me get emotional because when you think about the difference and the growth in him since he got here to where he is now.
Oh, yeah.
When you think about a guy that you were like, you know, he's good at high pointing the ball, and he's a guy that, you know, when he gets the ball in his hands, he's good after the catch, to now being he's a complete tight end. He's a threat in the run game. He's a threat in the passing game. He is. And again, to get to know this young man and know what a special human being he is.
Yeah.
It's bittersweet, man. It's bittersweet saying goodbye to him because he's going to be great in the NFL. Nobody has any doubt about it. You know, he's going to be special in the NFL. But tonight, he showed you everything. He showed you everything. He showed you the route running. He showed you the hand strength. He showed you the only thing that I would say wasn't put on display at a high level is his ability after the catch tonight. That was probably it. But everything else, the lead blocking, the backside cutoff block, he showed you everything. And this, Cody Hardy, same thing. At this point in the season, nobody's 100%. However, everybody ain't being walked off the field and we thinking, oh yeah, he's probably done for the season. And then they come back doing their thing as well. So these tight ends, man, again, shout out to Coach Gavin. He is, this group has been spectacular. This group has been spectacular. And, it's weird calling him Coach Gavin because, again, I played with the guy when he was at NC State. We were in the same recruiting class, true story. But it's a beautiful thing seeing the way that this tight end room has come along and developed. And it's so interesting because if you just go back a few years, right, if we look after the J-Sam days, a little bit of a void there. We were hoping some guys would step up, and it was like, oh, this group ain't bad. They aren't hurting us, but they're on the strength. Now these guys are, they're a strength of the team because even though, I would imagine, and I don't want to speak for the man because Justin Jolie, if you want to play in the bowl game, I ain't going to stop you. I ain't going to be upset if you do, okay? But, even without Jolie, you still got Hardy. You still got Daniels. You still got a lot of guys who have been getting it done all season. So ultimately, I look at this group, man, and I say you can't give them enough praise for how they've continued to grow, continue to get better. And it's not a one-man show. It's not a one-man operation. For as good as Justin Jolie is, even when he's off the field, you can see Cody Hardy going for a 30-plus yarder because he has. You could see Daniels being a red zone threat because he is. You could see either one of those guys being a meaningful contributor in the run blocking game because they both are. So again, it's tough to express how special this tight end room is, and I don't want anybody to overlook that because this group, they're good, man. And I will say this: without them, do we not just for this game? Do we win all the games that we have this season? I doubt it. I doubt you come up with a win against Florida State without tight ends where you can say 4th and 6, throw it up to my boy. We'll figure it out. I doubt we win all the games that we did earlier this season. And even when you look at, you get blown out of Pitt, but Justin Jolie, one leg into the end zone. How does anybody say, I don't want to put it all on the line. I don't want to go harder watching one of your captains do that. One of your captains that's listed top 3 in his position on draft boards. He's got nothing. He could have easily, I'm hurt. I'm going to go down. I need to save my body. And yet he's still out there making plays. So, this is, again, the strength of the Wolf is truly the pack. And that's what it's been.
Yeah, as you might have already seen here at the bottom of the screen, I think this is still accurate. According to Mal, our tight ends still lead the country as a tight end room in touchdowns. That's a spectacular effort from this room and an overwhelmingly positive aspect to this team. Jolie's been awesome. Hardy's been awesome. And Dante Daniels, when we've gotten him, has been awesome. So shout out to Coach Locklear. You've done a spectacular job with the tight ends this year, and they have been a strength and large part of this offense. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the defense, and then we'll kind of begin the conversation about the offseason. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Our second Saturday evening post-game live sponsor is FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game, you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score the next bucket to each and every fourth quarter comeback. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, and especially when your team's making that late push. Or if you want to stay involved with college football, breaking news, maybe you've already seen this, SMU lost to Cal. So Duke will be going to the ACC Championship to face off with the UVA Cavaliers. Maybe you have an inclination on how that game might go. If so, and if you're interested, head on over to FanDuel. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head on over to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Last couple minutes of our Saturday evening post-game live, recapping a 42-19 butt whooping of the Dirty Foot Club. I wanted to say something else, but we're keeping it clean here on Saturday evening. Let's talk about the defense tonight, Kenton. I think something that instantly pops off the page to me, our season high in sacks. We had 4 sacks tonight. I thought our defensive line was playing bully ball. I thought Trevally Price played one hell of a game. Kean Sloan played one hell of a game. Brandon Cleveland, B. Cleve, had the sack and the belly rub there. I thought the defensive line looked as good, if not the best, as they had the entire season, just pushing around the UNC offensive line. Really changed the outcome of this game, too. You get in the backfield to Gio Lopez. You make life difficult for Max Johnson. The defensive line really showed up tonight for the NC State Wolfpack.
Grayson, this team, this defense, much maligned throughout the season, and rightfully so. However, if you exclude the Campbell game, or, if we just talk about against FBS opponents, this team had not one time coming into the Florida State game. Let me make this clear. Not once have we held a team to below 16 points. We are averaging 15 per game in these last 2.
Remarkable.
And that includes a garbage time touchdown where it was very clear we had the backups in, foot taken off the gas, all that. So if we really want to be honest, we're looking at what? 12 and 11 and a half per game. Now, mind you, we're talking about 11 and a half per game for a defense that allowed 17, 31, 24, 45, 23, 36, 53, 36, 41. Did you hear team one time in there?
I did not.
Again, we exclude Campbell because that's an FCS team.
Yeah.
And Grayson and I are both older than their program, with all due respect. When you talk about how do you want your legacy to be remembered, when you talk about how do you want to finish, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. As a defense, I can't ask you for no more. No, I can't ask you for anything better than 15 points per game. That would make you the 7th best defense in the nation in terms of points allowed per game. 7th. That's it. That's where you be. I'm sorry. No. You would be 9th. 9th highest defense in the nation at 15 points per game. That's spectacular. What else can you ask of this defense? They're not just stopping the run. They're stopping everything. So at the end of the day, I can say nothing but I truly look at this team and say, it's not just pride in beating the Dirty Foot Club. They finally took pride in how they go about their business as a defense. We finally had our defensive back step up in a very meaningful way against Florida State, and then again in this one. We finally saw, I joked about the fact that our linebackers in the open field is a little bit dicey sometimes, and yet Caden Fordham made 2 plays in space. The incompletion, well, I guess they're both incomplete passes, but
yeah,
the fumble, not fumble, and the interception, both him making plays in space. And then the defensive line. At times we talked about the fact that we expected Cleveland to take a step forward and it hadn't happened. This game, he looked like the game record we thought he would be. In the running game and in the passing game, he looked like the game record we thought he would be. Everybody showed up. Everybody that had on the jersey, if you had on a red jersey tonight defensively, you showed up. Most sacks of the season. They were creating pressure, creating tackles for losses, and not letting guys break tackles. This was a special performance. And, obviously you want to say, well, where was this all season? But we're talking about tonight. And tonight, these young men were dominant. Flatly dominant. Before you put the backups in, when this game was over, 12 points is all you gave up. This was a special night.
And something else, just to rub a little extra salt in the wound, because I'm about that action. We also didn't really play that many disconjointed teams as the one we played tonight as well. That's a bad team. They had a disastrous year. They thought they'd be winning championships. It doesn't work like that. You don't just blindly throw money at old washed-up coaches that run a circus behind the scenes. This is what you get. So you paid for all of that, and you got, 4-8? Congratulations. You played yourself. You told us that Bill Belichick, oh, my God, Dave Doran can't beat him. He's the greatest coach to ever live. 42-19. Game was never even close. It was never in doubt. UNC was legitimately never in this game. As soon as we scored, it was metaphorically over. So chew on that for another offseason. NC State dominates UNC again. We're going to keep saying it because it keeps being true. The narrative that, NC State just cares about this game more. This is your Super Bowl. That's never registered with me because it's okay, but we're repeatedly ragdolling you and you're doing nothing about it. Are you not embarrassed by that? We're playing a game that you're supposed to want to win too. 42-19, 5 in a row. Yes, we will continue to tell you about this. Better get used to it because we're not going to stop ever. Not now, not ever. That was the supposed 33rd NFL team. So congrats, Dave Doran. You are now 1-0 as a head coach against NFL teams. I hope that feels good tonight as well. Just a dominant effort. And we knew this was coming. Again, we've told you for months it was going to be a train wreck. NC State would roll anyway. Dave Doran always gets up for this game. Again, say whatever you want about the guy, but he knows the games that he absolutely has to show up for. We wish it was 12, but just for tonight, we only had one game tonight, and it was 42-19 was the final. So, again, I feel very happy for the guys. I want to kind of continue this discussion. I think we're going to leave some meat on the bone for Monday and getting into the rest of the week, but you finished at 7-5. The over-under win total was 6.5, so if you had the over, you cashed that tonight. Let's see, lasting question. So, let's everyone just think about this over the course of the rest of this weekend. NC State is 7-5. You're going to a bowl. You're probably going to get a favorable bowl matchup. Again, we'll see. Would you consider this a good season? Would you consider this season a success? Now, really think about this. Don't just, bang the table. No, we didn't go to Charlotte. We didn't win 9 games. We didn't win 10 games. I'm tired. Really think about this. In terms of the preseason expectations, again, the win total was 6.5. So Vegas and the rest of the country looked at NC State and said, yeah, probably 6-6, maybe worse. You went 7-5. You're going to have a chance at 8 games. To Kenton's point, he said this is an 8-win team or 5 and less. We're 1 away from cashing that over twice now. So we'll see. Lasting impressions. Everyone think about this. Tell us in the comments. Tell us on Monday's show, maybe Tuesday's show. Do you consider this a successful season? We'll talk more about this on Monday. Thank you all for joining us. As always, sadly enough, this is the last post-game live of the football season. This is one of our favorite things to do. Y'all are always in here with us. Over 200 again. It's past midnight. Doesn't matter the time. Y'all always will show up for these. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Another regular season is now in the books. It's bittersweet, as Kenton said. Much more to talk about over the course of this next coming week. But be sure to hit that like button. Drop your comments in the comment box. Smash that subscribe button if you have not already. We will see you back in here, as always, on Monday. And until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.